Good morning, COMM 101 students from both Bloomington High School and Normal West High School. Dr. Pulley here on St. Patrick's Day. It's as green as I've got, sorry. With a little bit of information because your informative speeches, which is one of your 3 required major speeches for the course, are due this Friday. So I've been going over your introduction only assignments. I have almost all of those graded. I'll be giving you some brief notes on your drafts as well. So I wouldn't record yours until, say, maybe Wednesday at best. So moving on here. First of all, this course is extemporaneous speaking. It's a public speaking class, not an English writing class. So we are writing for the ear and eyes because we're doing visuals and we have slides and things like that. So that's fine. But mostly think about the fact that your audience is listening and not reading. Okay. In a paper, you're writing for the eyes, but in a paper, you're also writing in a formal sort of tone where you're having a conversation with the audience, which means we can say things like let's and use contractions and be more, directly involved first person with the audience. And that's okay. That's what we want. Okay. Also not an English paper in the fact that in an English paper, you can write these beautiful complex sentences, these beautiful complex thesis statements, but your audience is listening. If you're reading a paper and you don't get it, you automatically scan back. If I'm listening and I don't get it, I'm lost. So we want to make sure they're not lost and give them lots and lots of clues and cues so they'll know where they are, or if they do get lost, how they can get back on track. So make sure we're doing some things with just brief notes. Okay, you're delivering from that a presentation outline, which I will show you examples of that in a minute. It's not a script. We're not doing manuscript delivery. That requires a whole lot of work, and most people will end up reading, and it's pretty obvious when you're reading. So make brief notes. Some of you, I made notes on your thing saying, hey, something in between that draft outline you turned in and the note card you sent me, because some of your note cards were so sparse, I don't know if you'd be able to recall all the stuff. Some of you might, but you can do something in between. And again, I'll show you here at the end. Okay. Well, so we're going to look at the idea at the end here of a speaking outline versus a preparation outline. And think about the fact that you're having a conversation with your audience. Okay. For introductions, the parts as a whole of that introduction only speech were, as I said in the previous video, the purpose of the introduction, which is to get their attention. Okay. State the topic clearly and directly. Again, they can't go back and reread it or kind of go, oh, I think I see where we're going now, because they'll get lost if you try to do that. Okay. Why it's important to them, audience relation or importance to the audience or a linking statement. Okay. Why you're credible. What drew you to your topic? It could be something that, you're an athlete. So you're talking about mental health with athletes, for example. So talk about that. But you've also all done research, because I kind of made you with some of those worksheets we did. Okay. And then the preview, think of this as a mental roadmap for them. We're going to look at A, B, and C. Okay. Make those short and sweet. Don't add a lot. Don't say we're going to look at first we'll look at this and then explain that. That goes in the body. We're going to look at this, then this, then this. And that simple little mental roadmap will help them if they get lost later. But you want to do things like those transitions, like you did to the first point. You'll do that to the second point. You'll do that to the third point. You'll do that from your third point to your conclusion. And those things help let them know where they're at. So now we've looked at this. Let's move to our next point, our final point. Those transitions help them, but that lets them know that preview, there's going to be 3 things, and knowing that if I get lost at some point, I can figure out where I'm at later. Okay. Again, like I said with the paper, you can scan back if you get lost. In fact, if you're reading and you don't understand something, you automatically scan back. It's just automatic. Your audience can't do that. Okay. And an introduction to build your credibility. This should be something you have down so well. It's almost all eye contact with the audience. There are things called like the halo and horns effect. And the halo effect is you do a few good things up front in your speech, like a really great oral citation or a lot of good eye contact early on. Later on, you might not do as good a citation, or you might not do, your eye contact might get worse, but that halo effect kind of makes us think you're doing a great job anyway. On the other hand, If you're not looking at the audience most of the time and you're looking down at your notes and talking and reading to us, then that starts us from the beginning thinking, even if it gets better, we still think you didn't do as good a job. So try to get those down as much as you can. Not saying the entire thing, but you can. Okay, let's talk about recordings real quickly here, because I'm doing a recording right now for you as well. Okay, I'm doing a screencast, so I'm capturing my screen plus this. You don't have to do this because you're going to be in front of an audience, so let me give you some tips. First of all, we want to do landscape, not portrait. That means we're not filming this way. We're not TikTok. Okay, we're going to turn your phone landscape mode, horizontal, and you want to make sure if you have an iPhone or something that this is up. Okay, and the reason why you want that up is because if you don't have that up, it ends up being a video that's upside down for me, and then I have to flip it, and when I do, then everything is backwards. So if you have writing or your shirt has writing on it, it's going to be backwards for me because I had to flip it. Okay. Not mirrored if you're using a webcam. I'm using a webcam. A lot of people like to see themselves mirrored in the webcam. I don't like that. I want to see what my audience sees, but that's 40 years of video production. So make sure if you're using a webcam to record this that you're not having it on mirrored mode. Okay. Because again, that flips things. No editing, except you can trim the start. And if you want to, you don't have to. I don't mind someone starting it and then you ready? Okay. Ready? Okay. Go. Okay. And that's all. You don't have to trim that if you don't want to. You only need to start with your speech. Don't start with, hey, I'm so-and-so, and it's just going to be my informative speech. I don't need that. I'm not going to mark it against you, but that's not part of your speech. The speech starts with your attention getter. Okay. You can do picture in picture, which is what you see here. I'm the picture in picture that I'm going to do here in a second when I edit this later. But for you, it would be the opposite if you're going to add these later. If you wanted to do this, you don't make yourself picture in picture. You would make those slides the pictures. And I'll see if I can't do that for you here when I edit this down. Okay. Again, that's not required. If you're just sitting there with your laptop beside you and you're in one classroom and I have to be able to see your audience, your 6 audience members. So someone's got a film from the back of the room and it's okay to start it and then kind of move back up there so they can be seen in the slides or in the shot. But even if you don't have access to an interactive display panel or a projector or whatever it is and showing your slides, you can just sit there with your Chromebook or your laptop or whatever and show those. Your audience should probably see them because it's going to be a small audience of 6. Okay. If it was a big classroom, they wouldn't be able to see those. But you can just click through those and then send me a copy of the slides as well. So again, not required to put those in. Some of you went ahead and did that. That's great. If you want some tips on that, let me know. Again, been editing video for 40 plus years. So outlines, the instructions on those outline worksheets I sent to you, including the ones for this one, are for you. I know them. So when you make a copy of that, delete all that. I just need your outline and your works cited. It can be on the same doc. Some people like to do them as separate documents. That's okay. Again, I just need the outline. I just need the works cited. Okay. If you should be doing note cards, okay, you can send a picture of those or put them into a PDF. You don't need to do one for each individual card. You can do, like 4 or more at one shot. In fact, in that case, if you're actually doing something in portrait mode, you could put probably even up to 6 or more in a shot. As long as I can zoom in and see them, it's okay. Okay. Distractors. This is the last one. I'm thinking, I got this little badge here so I can kind of think, or sometimes I have like longer and it will play with my mustache. Those are distractors if you're talking with your audience. So if it's playing with your clothing or playing with your note cards or wringing your hands or whatever you are, those become distractors for your audience. Okay. So hand wringing is one of those. Hair if long. So gentlemen, if you have long hair or ladies, if you have long hair, I would recommend to you something that puts it back, whether it's a hairband or some kind of clip that keeps it back. Otherwise, you're going to be constantly flipping your hair out of the way. And, once or twice in a speech is okay, but I had people who were doing it multiple times just in their introduction. So I didn't really take off with that. I just made a note for you, but be aware that can be a distraction for people. Okay. So for some reason, that slide didn't. Okay. And one final thing here before you. Okay. Outlines. one thing people do is like, I don't have note cards, don't have access to note cards. Well, one of the things you can do is you can take a document and turn it into an outline. And what you could do is simply go in and take your document and enlarge your font and move everything down. So it's going to create what I call for my students a half sheet outline. When we had an in-person class, they always like the bigger note cards anyway that I got for them. And so just increase the font on your outline, move everything to the bottom of each page. So the bottom half of your page, imagine this, the bottom half is blank. And then when I'm done, I can just fold that over and make a note card for myself. Tape it, staple it, whatever you have available to you. And that actually makes it enough so that it doesn't rustle like a single piece of paper would, but fold it in half. It eliminates that sort of rustling sound you might get out of it. And it's a simple way to do that if you have access to a printer. I'm imagining at school you guys do. If you don't have note cards, some people prefer to write out their note cards. But if your handwriting isn't great, do this. Also look at those outline examples because you can do things in there that kind of show you ways to do some things on writing notes for yourself. Like if I'm asking, by show of hands, how many of you do this? Or imagine. If I'm asking them to imagine, you need to pause and give them 1, 2, 3 seconds to imagine. Otherwise, when you start moving right on, they're imagining and now they're lost. Okay. So let me see if I can't get this other slide to load back for some reason. It doesn't want to show anyway. Let's see what's going to come. Okay, this is the outlines. Okay, so Google's not playing nicely with this slide. It's not showing even if I reload the two examples, but I'll put the slides in the course for you. So the first one is a preparation outline, which looks like this. You can see the outline, my specific purpose. Introduction, I can't breathe. My arms are tingling. I'm dizzy. I feel as if my heart is about to fly out of my chest. And you see how this goes on to, this is what you kind of should have had for your introduction only presentation, although you would have had to have a quote required as well. But look at now the presentation outline, which is got, first of all, notes for myself. Eye contact, slow down, can't breathe, my arms are tingling, feeling dizzy, my heart's flying, feels like it's going to fly out of my chest. You're painting a picture for them, so you're going to pause and let that happen. This happened, and so this goes on. This doesn't quite follow the exact outline format that I want you guys to use, but you can see the organization. You can see all the information in here and see the difference between the two, and they've got a running commentary on both. This is a preparation outline, which is what I like to refer to as a sort of a script in sort of outline form. It's not quite a full paper. It's not quite a full manuscript, but it's still very wordy. Whereas this is the information you need to trigger yourself to remember what it is you want to say. Okay. So if you have questions, please, as always, ask. You can message me. You can email me. Either one works. I will finish the rest of the introduction only presentations later this afternoon. And as far as the outlines, I'll be giving you brief notes on those. I should have a lot of those done tonight, but they will all be done tomorrow. Okay. Thank you. And again, questions, please ask, and happy St. Patrick's Day.